Welcome, everybody, to Nexus at Night, your weekly Vanguard stream, brought to you by the people whose combined body weight is kind of sad. I'm Atlas.
How much do you weigh right now?
230, 228, something like that.
I still weigh around 165, which is too high.
I'm also significantly taller than you, so that's
Yeah,
part of the reason, but I don't know. I've
I'm
been
like
on
barely
consistently
5'3". So yeah, 165 is like too high, especially given all the health conditions in my family.
Gotcha. I went to go get my blood work done. 238. These nuts. Hi, hi, Rice. How are you? I
Hello.
haven't seen you around in a while. I don't know where Matt is. Seems like he should be here, but he's not. If he comes, he comes.
If he doesn't, that's fine. I'm tired, in case
I
you
can
couldn't
tell.
tell. Busy week.
What happened?
I just had to be in the office for 3 out of the 4 days this week.
Oh, the humanity.
Means I gotta like wake up at 6 o'clock and then take the bus for an hour.
Yeah.
Also, I've been sleeping like shit.
Yeah. That is a big part of like my 30s that I didn't realize. Matt is in the city of the wolves. What does that even mean? Also, hi Ed. Dead
Hi.
tired working at USPS. Yeah, that seems like it
Yeah,
tracks.
that
Rice.
seems like it would be tiring. I hope your job still exists in a month.
Jeez, that sounds like pretty mean, but I know what you like. Why you're saying that?
Yeah.
There was a big there wasn't there like a big mail strike in the 70s or whatever, and that.
Well, I'm talking about the
Yeah,
fact that Trump is probably just going to dismantle the USPS.
I hope not.
I mean, he's going
UPS
to.
fucking sucks. As
You know.
as does FedEx, but you know what?
Like, we don't advocate for political violence here, but we should definitely be advocating for political violence right now.
Probably.
Yeah.
But this is also a Vanguard show or something.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Board of directors fired. Damn.
Yeah.
Woof.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, yeah, I hope your job still exists in a month.
You know, the phrase "going postal" came about in the 1990s when there were a bunch of postal workers who would come in and, you know, kill all their coworkers. Maybe it's time to take that back.
Yeah, I don't know.
He said without context.
I don't know. Maybe it's time to go 1812 on the White House again.
Maybe it's time for I don't know. Did you sign that petition for Denmark to buy California?
No, I have not.
It was obviously it's satire, but like,
Yeah,
I'd be down for it.
yeah.
I'm a huge fan of the bicycle infrastructure. Get me some of that in LA. I'm in.
Right.
It's a joke about the ongoing beta test of the fighting game that is related to the fighting game that Matt is normally playing. Yes, very loud clickety clack that he does. I always go postal playing Vanguard. That about fits.
That makes sense.
Sucks. Yeah, it does.
Yes, it does. Holy shit.
Just trying to make a show. Richard, I was talking to Richard last week at Project CCG where we go for our locals, and they did one of the dumbest things I've ever seen, which is they did a team tournament.
And that was an official event, wasn't it?
With two people. Meaning that hours or like rounds were like an hour long. Which is stupid because they're like, yay, you're couples, which first off, I don't know who's the bottom in that scenario, but
we don't know, but we'll say you because it's funny.
It is funny. If I'm a bottom, I'm a power bottom, probably. But anyway, so Richard and I teamed up, and these rounds would take like an hour because how it would work is you play against your opponents, and then if only one side wins, the winners of both teams play each other for a third round. Too fucking long. We were like 4 hours in or 4 rounds in, and it was like 5 p.m. and we started at noon. I'm done with this. We scrubbed out after round 4 and just like hung out for a while, and then I left because my wife and I were having a thing where we had sushi and then watched Inglorious Bastards because my birthday was back on Wednesday, but my actual birthday had like LAUSD stuff that I had to do after work, which is like, motherfucker. Like, that says something about adulthood where you're just like, all right, I guess I got to go do more work stuff after work. Happy birthday to me.
Also, happy birthday.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm now 31. My hairline gets a little bit thinner each and every day.
Oh, I'm there with you.
You
can see it right here.
Nice. That widow's peak says a lot. Or like if you watch any of my TikToks, you can see like a specific line where there's the thinning hair versus the not thinning hair.
Yeah.
Interesting. Like if you really want to see like a good one, there was one I did about a week ago where I was Jerry, where he becomes Kramer for an episode, and it's like I'm on no sleep, and like it's really visible. I'm 35, and when it's my birthday, work can kick rocks.
Yeah,
see, that's pretty wet.
I said, yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. At my old job, they had a thing where like you get a paid day off the month of your birthday. You can use it on your birthday, before, after, as long as it's in the month. And I'm probably gonna do something like that. Like, oh, I got the shits, I can't come into work, because I don't do a lot of calling in sick this year, just because last year I had my wedding and now the microscope is on me. So I think after this year, I'll be under less pressure to like, all right, make sure you show up.
Yeah. Also, I need to go figure out my flight schedule for going to Pasadena.
That's true. That's what the main thing of this episode was about. Both us like planning for Pasadena, and also what fucking deck am I gonna bring to Pasadena?
See, you have Hari. You know, you can like get through it.
I don't have finished Hari. That's the problem.
I can lend you the Tiz. I can lend you the Tiz cars. I'm not gonna play Blankmeyer.
Okay, I guess I could do that. If I'm gonna bring anything that's not Hari, it would be Undercover, because this is a pile of jank, Eugene, and that's not the card I would want to show for that. That could be any deck. This is a pile of jank, and Magnolia is just too unstable. And Welstra, I'm not confident enough in my abilities to play. So yeah, it's got to be Harry or Undercover or nothing. And like with the new guy, because I was testing the new guy today with my teacher friend. You know who you are. Shout out to you. He watches this apparently. I was testing with him today, and wow, it actually kind of does a lot. To those who don't know, it's like end of battle that it attacks while boosted. Put the whole column into soul. Draw, and then you can energy blast 3 to countercharge 1, and having just extra copies of Turnar is great. But it also means you can do things like, all right, I'll swing and then bounce the cat, and then just put it itself into soul. You still get a draw and a countercharge. It's energy blast 5 for it, but like still kind of worth it.
Yeah.
It's also nice to be searching something off the top 5 with what's her name? Danar, the triple R, the grade 2. That doesn't suck. So that'd be good. That isn't the right line. I don't know what what's it called? What Regalis piece to do? I'm thinking protection twin cast, but
yeah, twin cast is fine. Depending on how much control there is in the upcoming format, like Bracing Angel Ladder might be worth using.
I was using that for a long time and was like, I don't need this. Most of the time, my boards are malleable. Like you're calling over them most of the time anyway, or getting rid of them. The only thing you don't want to get rid of is the Obscudide, which mostly just stays in the back. And there is a way to like, all right, I'll get it off the board and back in deck. So Bracing Angel Ladder kind of ends up being putting a hat on a hat. Now, if Blankmeyer suddenly becomes top deck, yeah, maybe I want to play Bracing Angel Ladder, because I can't get those cards back.
Yeah. Like the thing I would be concerned about going into Pasadena is like Messiah would be the The big deck, where it just like binds all of your shit.
Yeah. Yeah, worried about that. I'm like the stride decks, right? Night Rose, Harry. Also, what's her face? Leal Odium and Messiah all have triple drive, meaning Sanctitude is a must.
Yep.
Whereas before I just had the Ezras is at 4 because it's searchable, but I really think it's the more prudent choice to go 3-1 with that.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Like, aside from that, the deck kind of builds itself, which is a bit of a shame. I wish there was more flexibility in the way you build the deck. Like, I'd love to run the... What's the guy where, like, after he attacks, you retire him and then check top 3 and get something?
I don't know.
He looks like a gold.
Oh, Kadwala.
Kadwala, thank you. Yeah. Hi, Atlas. Hi, Ripper. Hi, Zaru. Where's Matt? I'd have no idea. Sometimes he just does this. We're like, all right, we're ready. And then he's like, oh, yeah, I fell asleep, which entirely possible. He is on the East Coast. Give the man the respect he deserves. Yeah, Kadwala. So, like, that seems to be only good for the early game. Whereas Turnar is better for the late game, and Turnar you want to use as, like, for the countercharging. Because both Daymar and Mordalian both counterblast in order to do their thing, so you want that countercharge real bad. I remember when I first put the deck together, and I was, being a pissy little bitch at you for it. Sorry for that, by the way. I had problems with like too many Obscudides showing up at once. So I put it to 3. I put it back to 4 now, just because 1, there are decks who can like break the loop of using it over and over, and 2, it still is a 23k beater if it's in the front. Where's Matt? It's only 10 p.m. Yeah, it's 10 p.m. Still late.
He's chilling.
We're in our 30s. Yeah. So I guess we'll see. If people want to see the deck list for Undercover, it's already on our channel. And there's a game to go along with it. Subscribe to Nexus at Night if you haven't already. I still need to do a deck profile for Eugene, but I have the what's the word? What I need to use here? I have made the mistake of like, it isn't perfect. I can't do a deck profile yet. I still constantly fuck it. I just need to get it out of my system so I can stop agonizing over it so much. Because it's going to be jank as long as there's Eugene. And that's just the way it goes. I did realize that like Leal Odium doesn't like to be rushed, does it?
No. Like, Leal Odium is a deck that just, like, randomly loses to itself a lot of the time.
What, if you don't get the 5...
like, if you don't get the 5 bind, but also, like, oh, you didn't drive check very good, that's a problem. Oh, your opponent healed, that's a problem. Like, your opponent damage denied you, that can be a problem. But also, if your opponent rushes you, that's a problem. Like, the deck has so many, like, issues that it's honestly kind of amazing it manages to be a top deck. It just, like, doesn't play Vanguard, really.
It feels very fancy for a deck, doesn't it? It's very opulent in the way it plays, if that makes any sense.
No, not really.
Okay. All right, I put this in my gauge. I draw 2 cards. I call something from outside of time. It's got like a foppishness to it that I don't know how to describe.
Yeah, I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about.
This is the English teacher in me. It's starting to like ruin the way that I talk. I'm realizing though that I love this card for Dragon Empire. Have you used this before?
That's the guy that like when you discard something, you Energy Blast 3, remove it to like get it back, right?
Yeah. So I'm also realizing it's a great rushing tool because on play, if you have Vanguard less or equal to the opponent's grade, it just gets 5k. So like I played this against my friend again. Shout out to that guy. or I had 2. So I just called 2 down there at 13 and then called the cat to get a draw. And then was hitting like over a trigger on damage. So I was like, all right, 13, 13. And then with Vanguard grade 2 swing, 25. Or 23, sorry, with his effect. So it was like aggressive, and I put him to 3 before we even got to turn 3. And yeah, just ended up working out in my favor. I like that card, and then I also like that it both works on Ride Line. It works on the Oswald discard for the restand. You get it back. Pain, no trigger checks today. That's him. That's the guy. I also got Shenri in the mail, and Shenri seems to be a good addition to the deck, which is good.
That's nice.
Yeah. There's just like, hey, you like watching the show where there's the guy who just yaps about Eugene forever? That's Nexus and Night, baby. I forced an Odium player to Divine Steel while I was at 2 damage the other day. Ed, I want to know how this happened. Did they take a blow to the head beforehand? How does that happen?
They're on the verge of decking out. He kept healing. He kept just aggressively guarding early to make the divine skill weak. Like, there's lots of ways to do that.
So, but like usually when I see the players do the divine skill, it's always like you're at 3, or they saw you use the sanctitude, or they see the sanctitude go to damage or something. They're like, aha, he's not going to have it. Let's go. And then they punch your lights out. I was playing Levy Dress and pushing them to 5 damage. Yeah, probably. Yeah. So either do it or lose. That makes sense.
Yeah. Like, there are so many ways where it's just like they're in a bad spot and they just have to divine skill. Again, like, funny, it came up as Twitter discourse today, but like, I feel like Odium probably is the most fraudulent meta deck right now, even more than like Varga, even though it probably has more. Yeah, just like, is it really a real deck, despite the fact that it like tops somewhat consistently? Just like, no, this deck,
yeah.
Because, like, the deck does not really do anything outside of the divine skill. Like, what, you have 3 attacks. They're kind of big if you find enough copies of Distorted Bane. Like, it doesn't really have any countercharging, so eventually, like, if you're getting damage denied, like, you either, like, give up some draw power or can't loop, like, Anachronous Dragon the way that you want to. Like, if you don't find Distorted Bane, your numbers suck, and you lose out on your win con. You run the risk of decking out even if you don't do anything, just because of how many cards incidentally draw or soul charge.
Yes, plus your triple drive on top of that.
Yeah, and your triple drive, and then like once you've blown the divine skill, it has to like effectively end the game, right? Like either you deal 6 damage with it, or like you get your opponent to a point where they cannot possibly recover to like win out the game, and then if you don't, they can probably just stall you out until you deck out, because you like just don't have any pressure after that.
Right.
Like the deck just has like so many issues outside of its like one thing that it does.
So that's what you mean by fraudulent, just like so many flaws, but it somehow manages to keep
like it tops because the one thing is very powerful, but it's just like, man, this isn't like a real deck.
You're not a real meta deck like the rest of us. Varga doesn't seem especially fraudulent, though, from what I can see.
How many tops does Varga have in this season? Varga's weird, because it's just like, sometimes it does roll you, but like, honestly, Varga, especially once they switched over to playing Rakshasa, that feels like a lot worse.
Interesting. Because like, Rezael is the one that I thought I would be, like the early game, phenomenal. Right? You're getting so many cards that early. But there are some games where you're like, I have 10 cards in hand. 6 of them are grade 3s. I lose. Like, that feels more fraudulent than, say, like Levy Dress. Levy Dress, I think, is running the table. Varga is fraudulent when the triggers don't show up.
Yeah.
That's every deck, though, isn't it?
Yeah, but like, Varga is just like, okay, it's similar to Odium, where it's like, okay, you do the big turn once, and like if you don't get enough triggers, or your opponent's at too low damage, or you know, like all the same things, then it's just like, okay, you made 6 attacks, that's cool. And then what? Especially because now with Rakshasa, you're like wiping your own board and you don't have as much repeatable draw power the way you did before Rakshasa.
Right.
And like your draws are random. You don't have a very good way to like curate the cards in your hand. So it's like very easy to just end up in like fake hand scenarios. Like a little bit piece dependent. Like you really need to find Shura to make the 5th attack happen and like get value off of it.
Okay.
So yeah, I do think like Varga is slightly less fraudulent than Odium, just because like your repeatable game plan is still like making 5 attacks, but like there are scenarios where like actually like the top decks can play around the front row wipe. Like wiping your own back row means that like Rakshasa has to be built differently, that doesn't draw as many cards anymore.
Right.
And it's just like, okay, yeah, like if they check a crit at any point in their 4 drive checks, then the Varga swings really, really hurt. But if you don't, it's like, you know, it only does okay. And like the numbers it puts up can be very strong, but like since everyone just starts switching over to playing front triggers, it's like, I don't know, a 23k column, that's very like guardable these days.
Why did everyone start switching to fronts anyway?
Every deck can draw and you need the extra shield.
Ah, yeah. That makes sense. Oh, the extra shield. Speaking of which, I need to get a new set of fronts for Keter, because like I loaded up on crits for undercover just for the pressure, but now I kind of think I want the shield more. I'm not sure though.
Well, yeah. I mean, you don't have to play draw. You probably don't have to play draw triggers.
That's true. Yeah, especially now. You definitely don't. Yeah, maybe crits and fronts is a good idea.
Yeah, like I think any deck where it's like draw where you do not need to draw like a specific thing, just like crits fronts are like the best thing to be doing. But yeah, Varga is like fine. Like I'm probably more willing to argue for Varga than I am for Odium, all things considered.
Well, this is also coming from the guy who loves the original Leal so much that he blinked it out.
I mean, that was like half meme, but yes, I do play that deck a lot. Well, like that's not even why. I did want to play Odium because like the concept of a deck where you build up to one big turn is really cool, and then you realize like, oh right, you kind of need to be able to like follow up on it if the one thing doesn't work.
This is why I like Welstra so much, and as far as divine skills go, just because it's so much easier to know when to divine skill, and also that's just setup.
Yeah.
No popping. Fronts are fine, especially if your deck compresses itself. Yes, that is a big positive to undercover being undercover. Which I finally bit the bullet and got the fancy monitored trysts for that too. I am excited.
What the fuck were the review? Oh, speaking of Varga, by the way, we have new cards.
Shall we? New cards. PogChamp? Fancy.
All right. So, I think there were some holidays this week, but no, they started... I know what happened. They started revealing all the commons that, like, don't matter, but maybe they kind of do. Like, the latest set of commons that do nothing are, like, you put a normal unit that's not a sentinel to the bottom of your deck to give it 2k, and it's like, you know, actually, this might matter sometime. Like, I can see decks wanting to play these.
Yeah, like, some decks definitely do want that. I kind of want that in Undercover as, like, an incidental grade 1. I think I'm a little too far down on my end.
What? Well, I was just showing off the common, and then we're moving on to the Dragon Empire stuff.
Yes.
So you know how every nation gets this like random set of generic cards that are following a theme, that are all like low rarity. Here's Dragon Empires. So I'm gonna start with the order actually. Wondrous Melodies. So you Energy Blast 2. Look at the top 5 for a normal unit with Nymph in its name and call it a rearguard circle. And then we have Demonic Dragon Nymph Jammy. Why am I having trouble pronouncing Nymph today? When the attack boosted hits a Vanguard, you Energy Blast 3, retire an opponent's rear guard.
Okay, I guess. Whatever. Fine.
Lightning Legend Hermit Ryodo. So, when it's placed on rearguard circle, counterblast 1, search for the order, put it into your hand, shuffle your deck, and then when it attacks Great Theory or Greater Vanguard, if it's boosted by a Nymph, it gets 5k. Cool.
Drink.
And then Illusory Tunes Nymph Rekai. So, if you played Wondrous Melodies, it gets 5k, and then at the end of the battle, it attacks a Great 3 or at the end of the battle that your Great 3 or Greater Vanguard attacks, if you did not stand a unit by a card's ability this turn, you counterblast 1, retire this guy in the front row, and stand this unit. It's missing the part where it stands itself, I'm pretty sure.
I accidentally my other rear guard.
Yeah.
Let's see, spinning shot.
Yeah,
dragon?
it has the like stand symbol on the text, so yeah, it's like restands itself.
That's one of the things I can always appreciate about Vanguard is that like in Magic where you have shorthand for specific skills, and Vanguard has these symbols, and I feel like that's very easy when teaching a person the game where you're like, okay, this means stand, counter blast, soul blast. And then I like that they like updated the blast versus charge where if it's blast, it's like colored in, and then charge, it's white with the outline.
Yeah, instead of like the purple card turnover means you counter blast, and then the green card turning over means you counter charge. Like, who the fuck is going to understand that?
It's true. Spinning shot dragon. If your Vanguard is in the Malworm state and your back row is no other rear guards with the same name as him, cannot be retired by card effects and gets 5k. Okay.
Cool. It's just a grade 1 version of the grade 3 guy that they don't play anymore.
Indeed it is. Although because it's the back row, that's like, I guess, kind of better. Like he fulfills a niche that wasn't fulfilled before.
Yeah. And then we have Eluding Dragon. So if you have a Varga Vanguard, 10k power shield, and then when it's retired from rearguard by the ability of Varga, you can Soul Blast 1, bounce it back to your hand.
Wow. That's... Huh.
Yeah.
Do you want this? Like...
Probably. Like, recouping your cards is always useful. The big thing is that this has more shield.
Right.
Like, extra shield is always nice. I don't know what you would cut for it. The problem with this is, like, it doesn't gain you card advantage in the same way that, like, Boulder Axe does, but also, Boulder Axe very much feels like a card that people are only putting in their deck as, like, filler.
It's right, because you don't have anything else that fulfills that niche, which this might, I think.
And then the other problem with this, actually, I just said that it has shield value, so, like, being a grade 3 does not matter.
Yeah. Zorga Divine Skill feels weak to me when looking at Divine Skills. Yeah. Probably.
Yeah, it is. Like, Zorga's Divine Skill is easily the most boring. Like, cool, you restand the column. Literally every deck does this now.
Yep. I guess Michu could use that card to put grade 3s back in deck like Eva does. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. I gave it had space, though. Those old graphics were rough IKEA-ass instructions.
Yeah, pretty much. Good. So, yeah, I think all the reveals today were just, like, the same bottom deck a guy. All right, and then in other news, we're getting Timu Vortex Dragon. So that Timu Vortex Dragon got revealed a while back, but we're getting an actual like ride line and support for it in set 8. So he kind of looks like Conroe, but like if Conroe let himself go a little bit.
Hey, my name's Conroe. I'm one of the working class boogers from the Mucinex commercial.
Yeah. I think it's just like front facing. Like with Conroe, he's like facing to the side, so he looks a little more imposing. This one kind of looks like what you said. He's a booger in a Mucinex commercial.
This guy looks like Danny DeVito if he like, all right, I'm playing a character in the Vanguard universe. Put me in, coach. I'm ready to play. Let's go.
All right, and then we have Demonic Dragon Retainer Joko. So when it's rolled upon by the grade 2, you Energy Blast 3, draw a card, give your Vanguard 5k. And then the grade 2 Drag Rider Azarl. When it's rolled upon by Werble, choose one of your Vanguards. You reduce the original act ability by Counter Blast 1. It kind of reminds me of the, what's it called? Gondiva ride line.
Yeah. The grade 1. Okay, so like they gave Eugene a second ride line to go with the new Eugene,
Yeah.
and it's literally just a better version of that, which is Energy Blast 3, draw 2, put something into Soul.
Yeah,
Why
but
not? Just do
Verbal
that.
Dragon doesn't really need Soul. And like I don't think it's on the reveals here, but just a reminder of what Verbal Dragon does. I can just look it up.
Yeah. You know, if I didn't know what Timu was, it sounds like it would be the name of the dragon, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Timu Vortex Dragon sounds mystical enough to me.
Yeah, but a reminder for Verbal Dragon. During your at the start of your main phase, you Energy Blast 3 or Energy Charge 3, then you can Energy Blast 3, retire a rear guard. And then if you did not retire something, it gets 5k, or if your opponent's grade 3, it gets 10 instead. And at the end of the battle attack, if you Energy Blast 6 or more to this turn for its ability, you counter 1, stand it, gets drive -2. Then you Soul Blast a card with the same name as it to give it a drive back.
Okay. It seems like your ride line wouldn't be wanting to spend any energy. It seems like you want to save it for him, no?
You get 6 energy a turn with him, so it kind of doesn't matter.
Oh, yeah, I guess so.
Because like you Energy Blast 3 to draw, and then like next turn you're gonna Energy Charge 3 again, and then like main phase you Energy Charge another 3, so you have the 6 you need to like pay for his cost.
Okay, yeah, sure. Now I kind of wish there were more energy charging cards that weren't archetype locked.
Speaking of energy charging cards that are archetype locked, when it continuous, if you have a grade 3 with Verbal in its name, when it's placed on Rearguard Circle from the hand, you energy charge 3 until end of turn. You can't use the act ability of your energy generator. And then when it boosts, it gets 5k until end of battle. And then if it's boosting a Verbal Dragon, you can Soul Blast 1 to stand it.
Wow.
This card's okay. And then it is kind of just like the special boosters that every divine unit got, but like for Verbal Dragon. And then Drag Rider Bishara. So when it's placed on Rearguard Circle, choose a grade 3 or greater with Verbal in its name. In your ride deck, reveal it. If you do that, or you will just have him on the Vanguard Circle, Counterblast 1. Retire an opponent's Rearguard. If you didn't retire anything, draw a card. And then for every Energy Blast 3 that you pay for the act ability of Verbal, it gets 5k. This card's like decent. Don't know that it needed to be a triple R, but you know, it's fine.
Amazing.
Yeah. And then this is the generic. Drag Rider near mine, whatever. One plays Counterblast 1, look at the top 7 for a grade 3 or greater, put it into your hand. If you didn't reveal anything, countercharge. And then if something was retired or bound this turn, go plus 5k. This is literally just the 5k or the grade 3 searchers from V. Like they just it's just like, okay, like search your deck for a grade 3, and then if you did like nation thing, get plus 5k. It's literally just the searchers from V.
Great.
Yeah, although with these you just counterblast instead of discarding something.
Yeah, I really liked the original things from V to search the grade 3 just because like they felt so flexible. They were a 10k shield. You could rush with them. Like they served a lot of purposes. This feels less comprehensive in that way.
Yeah. I wish they didn't counterblast. Like more decks are using like other resources now, but counterblasting can still be pretty scarce depending on the deck.
Yes. Well, because countercharge is so scarce. Unless you're like, there are some decks that like do it like gangbusters, but like for most of them, it's just like, okay, you got one. Here's one per turn.
And then next week we're gonna get Direful Doll support. Maybe the deck will be playable this time. And then 3 lyrical generics. So one of a generic double R that supports dress ups, and then it's 3 generic double R's for lyrical, and then one of them supports dress ups, which is pretty cool. Hopefully these are nice generics. I like lyrical generics. Lyrical generics are really cool. Give us more things that bounce in the early game so I can just pretend that it's G era again.
Yeah. Now I believe I can have it aesthetically change his race. Oh, Timu.
Yeah.
I remember the Timu commercial where it's like the girl coming out of the mirror, and then she's like, "I like it. It's mine." And then I hit skip before I see the rest of the commercial.
Yeah.
All of my dreams came true.
Yeah, and then the like Tuesday reveals are gonna be stuff for Leonor and stuff for Omina Grugio. No anime episode this week because of holidays, which means probably the Drajuled support are going to be the Tuesday after this one because it's going to be revealed in the anime.
And I'm excited for Drajuled reprints because then it means I can play Drajuled again, which I never wanted to stop playing, but it was expensive, so I sold it. But now it means I can pick it up for a lot cheaper and play it again because I kind of love it. Love Drajuled. It was really fun playing it.
Too bad about those Tiz cars.
You know, I got them for a lot cheaper than I sold them for, and even though they're $60 now, like still money.
Yeah.
I feel like if I sit here agonizing the rest of my life, it's just not worth my time.
Yeah, but I get to make fun of you for it.
Today I learned Atlas is tall. Yes, I'm tall. Matt is taller. I think. How tall is he again?
Portable. I don't know.
Portable. Because like most of the time we spent with him, we were sitting down.
Yeah. Happens when you bond over a card game.
Yeah, pretty much. So I'm 6'1". Dino from Generation Dan, which check out that if you like Atlas in your podcasts, who is my co-host on that show. He is 6'3". He's very tall. And I didn't get to meet him until the wedding, which, Rupier, I don't think you interacted with him, did you?
I don't think so.
Okay, so he was like, he comes in and I had to do like this. Whoa. You're tall. But yeah, big guy, tall guy. He's like, he used to be up to 500 pounds and now he's 250, which is insane. And that's where the phrase genetic marvel comes from, because somehow he didn't have tits that entire time. Strange guy. So yeah, you're coming down that weekend.
Yep.
For Pasadena.
Yes, I am.
Probably a pie in the sky dream, but Burbank? Probably not. The good thing is that I work just directly east of LAX. So if you do like an after school time for the flight, I can pick you up.
Yeah, what time do you get off work so I can try to like arrange the flight?
3:30. And then if it's like, yeah, if it's later than that, I'm cool just like sitting at the school for a while and then straight shot west to go get you.
Yeah.
Which is fine by me. And then the Sunday is the Lyrical Cup, right?
That's Sunday? I don't think so. That's still BCS, so we're doing premium. Yeah, it's still BCS season, so we're doing premium.
Oh no, I'm thinking of like their Summerfest thing, right?
We don't know if it's going to be Lyrical or not. They might run premium anyways. It's just that like what's it called? It might be Lyrical. It kind of depends. And if they run premium, it's going to be singles format and not teams.
Fine with me. I will be there with my pandas, and I will do as well as I can and then we'll probably run into like Orange or Thai if they come or whatever.
I suddenly have the urge to build like premium Shadow Paladin.
Doesn't seem like a bad idea. If you run the version of Luard with the crest, I have the TD with one of the grade ones if you want to.
I'd still need 2 more, but I'll like consider it.
Okay.
I mean, I might.
And that's if you do the crest version.
I don't see why I wouldn't. Like, what the fuck else am I doing with this goddamn deck?
I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. What's like Luard looking like in standard right now? Maybe I'll just play that because I keep pulling the goddamn Luard promo for some reason.
The Journey to Become a Dragon, that one?
Yeah. I just have like 2 weeks in a row I went to locals and like pulled it. I'm like, all right, what the fuck does Luard look like these days?
It's like halfway decent, isn't it? at least.
It's like a playable deck.
Luard is a furry. I mean, don't they call themselves Staleys or something? What's the? I'm trying to remember from the College Humor sketch where he's like the CEO of Tumblr, and it's like, well, dragons call themselves Staleys. Go to hell.
Where's my like Luard deck box? I want to see if I can like conceivably rebuild that deck.
Go look on what's it called, Fuzzy's site.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to do like, okay, some things I need to do on this channel, which this is half me announcing it to our audience and half me trying to hold myself accountable, which is I need to quit being feckless and record this deck profile. I need to record the quote last episode of Nexus at Night that's like, hey, we're over here now. It'll be about 5 minutes long. And then I also need to I wanted to record like a little history of Bladewing Sullivan and how much I love that deck. I feel
also,
like
you never did the part 2 of the history of Vanguard that I started, that I punted to you.
I wrote it. I have it halfway written, and I keep getting distracted by my job and my teacher musical and my pilot and a bunch of other shit. And I'm sorry. The fact that Luard really wanted to become a dragon and was successful is like peak scaly behavior. I don't even know what peak scaly behavior is. Like,
he became a dragon. He succeeded.
Yeah, no,
he won.
Like, I more mean like furry stuff in general. Like you wear the mascot costume looking things, and then sex. Like, how does it work?
Pretty much, yeah.
I want to be mentioned in part 2 of History of Vanguard. Why? Was it their idea? I can't remember. I'm not saying this to be a dick.
He said he wanted to mention it because that's like we've been putting it off.
That's right. Okay. Be the stand.
It's been like 2 years.
Yes.
Which partially my fault, because at some point I should have just done it myself, but I don't really have anything to say about early Limit Break era.
No, you don't need to be like, oh, I should have done it myself. It is completely my fault. I'm the one who keeps getting distracted. You punted it to me. I said I would do it. I keep getting distracted. It's my fault. Be mad at me. I guess you wear the suit and go, hell yeah, this is me. I'm going to commission some art. And then... I think the funniest part of this is like... The funniest part of all this is that this wall is not very thick. Katie can hear everything I'm saying with no context to what Root Beer is saying. And the comment section. Like this happens with Generation Dan too when I'm recording. And she's like, you were saying some awful things. I'm like, most of it is in response to what Dino is saying. Dino is the dirty one. He's got a Me Too figurine. Where did Matt even get that picture he sent me?
That's a great question. The fucking Lucky Star Homestar Runner. Lucky Homestar Runner. There we go.
Yeah, which I guess I should put it up for
that just
for the sake of
that one felt like a personal attack on us.
Well, yeah, and like I don't know. I like the little like game of cat and mouse that we have where he's like the Homestar's dumb, and then it's responsible for like a third of my sense of humor. Hi, Katie. Thanks, Ed. Katie is spelled Katey in the future, and I know that that's kind of counterintuitive, but them's the breaks.
I'll see if anyone of my locals has copies of Dara before I just order it off TCG Player. Wow, Biscotti got expensive.
If I don't use Undercover, you can use Dara that day if you like.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
so
the reason I would get my own copies is so I could test with it.
Gotcha. This is what Matt sent us in our group chat, which is like, dude.
Also, if I get bored and build like premium Shadow Paladins, I would also need Dara for that.
Got it. Okay, that makes sense. Lord himself didn't make anything when he became Drag Strider, though. Oof. Yeah. Became understood. Oh, because of the picture. Yeah. I I forgot about having this there. You excited to reuse that thumbnail?
What thumbnail?
For that deck profile? The Bob Saga one?
Oh. I mean, I'd have to draw a new one because she was holding the spear in that. And Bob Saga is such a weird deck. I'm still trying to figure. I'm curious to see if it will continue the performance it's had in like coming weeks, because I feel like it's a very like peaks and valleys kind of deck. Where it's like it has a lot of specific pieces it needs to find in order to like kill you. And so the deck ranges very heavily from feeling like it's unbeatable to feeling very like fair and normal. Because like I think the strongest combo I got just off the top of my head was like, okay, so you need 2 copies of the sword. You need like Cindy, that promo that like returns an arms card from the drop zone. So you go like arm the sword, grab Cindy, put an arms card back to your hand, arm it. Probably the hammer, because so you don't have to pay counterblast if your Vanguard 10k. Then like overdress Varlord to arm the sword again so that you get a total 10k to your front row. And then like Varlord is giving your front row another 10k. And then you also need to find like the raid 2 that restands the new one to like make pressure, but also that's a way to like draw cards early. You probably want to have like more copies of Trick Moon for boosting. And so it's like when you have it's like a lot of things that have to come together for you to hit the deck ceiling. But when you do, you have a deck that makes like 4 or 5 attacks that are all like 30 to 80k.
Wow. What, you just, that's it? That's the...
Yeah.
Like 30 to 80k sounds ridiculous. Already.
Yeah, and then like you make like as long as you find the restander, you can make like 4 or 5 attacks. I think if you do that, the number goes down to like 30 to 50, but like that's still a lot.
Kind of big. Yeah. Like even in essence of like how many cards that is, that's at least 2 hitting 30, unless they have the front, and that's on the low end.
Yeah, like the problem with that is like turn 3 going first, the deck doesn't do very much. Like the numbers don't get super big. You probably haven't set up your full resource loop yet, so you only probably have like the 1 Trick Moon. What else is there? Also, like, the deck doesn't really have a way to, like, search out specific rear guards aside from Trick Moon and Varlord. So, like, there are games where you will just kind of brick and draw no, like, front row units, which feels really bad.
That one of the worst feelings is like, I got a handful of triggers. Not only does that mean I have less chances of drawing triggers in the first place, I can't call anything. Fuck.
Yeah. And, yeah, so, like, that's my experience with the deck is, like, when you hit all of the like pieces you need, the deck feels unstoppable, and then when you don't, the deck feels very stoppable.
Yes, probably because you like there's no way to actively search units.
Yeah, I
for the taking. You can search the weapons, but units are a problem.
Like you can search the arms cards and you can search out anything with the dress boost ability, but like you need like the front row guys, which you can't search. So it's just like, so I've had a handful of games where it's like, yes, I have one guy who, like, the one guy that brings himself back from the drop zone, and then that is effectively just a 15k vanilla.
The turntables.
Yeah, and like you can still get the numbers.
Oh, okay. Sorry, just reading the comment.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like you can buff the numbers up with like the sword and everything, but even that's like, okay, well, you need like in order to cycle multiple arms cards, you have to either like get Varlord or get Cindy, which are like the Varlord is searchable, Cindy is not. So it's just like there's just so many like moving pieces that you like have to find to hit your ceiling. And so the deck feels like really inconsistent to me personally. Like obviously it had a bunch of tops over the weekend in Japan, but that's why I'm saying like I want to see like in upcoming weeks how consistently it stays in the top tier, because I want us to see like the long-term results before declaring it like overrated or declaring it the most broken thing ever.
Want to see if it gets past that new toy syndrome, right?
Yeah. Okay, if I'm talking about like the biggest fraud in standard, at least it's probably Drajuled. I remember when like Drajuled first came out.
Yeah.
No, because like set 10, Drajuled Mask for like a couple of weeks was like a meta contender, and then like slowly but surely over the course of like multiple weeks, it just fell like further and further down until it stopped topping. And then, kind of a similar thing happened with like the grade 4 Drajuled, where Ignis was really good for a little bit, and then like the Stride decks came out and everyone stopped talking about set 13.
What a peach.
Yeah. Although I guess if we're talking about
Dollar
frauds,
Tree is selling these stain remover wipes, and I'm not gonna lie, they're actually really good. That's so
nice.
random, Zaro, but good to know. I will keep that in mind.
Yes, good to know. Thank you for the information. Although I guess if we're talking about fraudulent decks, I would also put Youth Burk up there, where it's like Youth Burk was really good for like a month maybe when set 8 came or set 7 came out with Tempest. And then like set 8 came out with Eva, and then Chronojet dropped not too long afterwards, and everyone stopped talking about Youth Burk.
Youth Burk also has the problem of too many cooks, right?
Yeah.
The Rizia problem.
I mean, Tempest was fine, but like
Rizia, right.
Yeah. Like Tempest was fine, but Full Blast was like, okay, well, if you get the high roll, they'll probably kill you, and if you don't, they lose. And then, of course, and then the same as what happened with Tempest, the Stride deck came out like a month afterwards, and everyone promptly stopped talking about that deck.
And then there's this one guy at my old locals, played it every week. It's the basically guy.
Yeah. Oh, well, how is he doing?
Fine. I haven't seen him in a while, but
we're getting a new Youth Burk, so maybe he'll be back.
Maybe. We'll see.
It is funny how, like, out of those 3 starter decks from the Will Dress period, like, Leonorn ended up the one being the most, like, consistently meta relevant, despite being the worst out of the 3 at the start.
Because they gave her a new one that was, like, good.
Yeah. But also, like, I think he's the only one where, like, the game plan makes sense, like, when you build up to it. Like, Ignis is also, like, decently good. It's just, like, I don't know what the problem with Ignis is. Is it just, like, draw power?
Kinda. It was also a little piece reliant.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, because you need, like, rear guards to stand themselves. Like, once you get into Vivace with Leonorn, it's like, oh, yeah, you just stand your front row.
Yeah. So that was that. Also, it could be a little slow.
Yeah.
Skosh.
I mean, so is Leonorn because you don't get Persona Ride, but like Vivace is just so strong.
Yeah. Still fun. Still had a good time with the deck. It really did remind me of like DIs in their heyday, just because they had the propensity to use dust to close out games, and it is basically dust without the G zone lighting on fire.
I mean, you absolutely did not use dust to close out the game with DI. Like, why
there were some games where like, what?
Like, why the fuck would you do that when you have like 3 different guys that have guard restricts and a restanding Vanguard?
Shields of Rye, Sharhot. What's the third one?
Balam. The guy that gets like triple drive and then gets like a guard restrict.
That's right.
Or quad drive and a guard restrict.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think by the time Balam came around, I was quitting. I had quit playing Blade Wings because they had limited Enigmatic Assassin. So it wasn't really part of the like you had Char.
They definitely had not done that because DI was meta relevant at the end of G.
Yes, but not Blade Wing.
Yeah,
Blade Wing was not the one that was doing that.
Yeah,
which is why
saying, like I'm just saying I'm pretty sure they did not limit Enigmatic Assassin until way later. Like, I'm pretty sure they didn't limit it until like the loop with no Life King started happening.
No, because I remember like I was playing the deck up until that became a thing, and that like we were still in college. It was on the way out of college that they had limited Enigmatic Assassin and killed the deck
They definitely.
Like, I'm pretty sure.
I'm pretty sure they did not do that. Bladewing Assassin just wasn't a very relevant deck for that long. Like, the Darkness variant was just better.
Yeah,
Let me
the
see.
worst part, we were making episodes at that time. I can go back and find if
I'm
I really
literally like going back to look at like the meta decks from like 2017.
Okay.
This is
the year we graduated.
Yeah.
So crazy to me. The funny part is like talking to some of these kids and like, all right, I was
no, that's still too early.
Like the youngest kids were born like 2010. 2010, 2011. So they were like, yeah, I was like in kindergarten when you were graduating college. It's like, kill me.
All right. I'm going. Okay, it's taking me a while to figure out like what year I need to look at in terms of like DI being relevant. Because this is like
him to find it, and so he can dunk on me. Enjoy, I guess.
Okay, no, this was Bladewing Assassin. But yeah, this is like 2017, and Bladewing Assassin is still here. But this is before the end of G era, because like the world's format with that one was like Blaster Overlord, and there's no way that was the end of G era format.
Because the end of G era was White Chronojet and Blue Ard, and what else was meta back then?
Yeah,
you had like, wasn't Angel Gize like a rogue pick?
No, Wow, Darkness didn't even play Enigmatic Assassin, so I have no idea if it's limited or not. But yeah, I'm pretty
worlds within LK.
What? I don't. That's a good point. Like, let me go check. But I'm pretty sure like they didn't limit like Enigmatic Assassin until like until the shift to like standard premium. But I'll see.
I just remember being heartbroken because I was like, that kills the deck. That was my win con.
Like,
and then gotta love the occasional person being like, why don't you just run the other the fucking Bladewing Reiji for V? I'm like, no, not happening. Not even close.
Yeah, I have to go see because like, no, wait, NLK wasn't out yet when I'm looking at these. Let's see. Is it like 2019? It would have to be like 2019, right? Because that was before the slaughter list.
Yeah.
I'm going to figure this out.
just in time for Matt to be like, I did something I thought would take 2 minutes and it took an hour, which I can empathize with that. That sucks.
Yeah.
It's my
fault.
fault.
That's Bermuda. That's fucking Shiranui. Hari, Spike Brothers. No, like not. Okay, so here's the problem. Like I can't remember if can't even remember if Dark Irregulars like topped in this time. No, that's when Okay, this is like Luar. God, it's so hard to figure this out. It'd be nice if we still had like historical data.
Yeah. Which
so yeah, but like the Darkness lists from 2018 just don't have Enigmatic Assassin, I assume because the deck is consistent enough without it.
Or is it?
Yeah.
Now I'm just being a dick about it. Sorry.
Yeah, but yeah. That's weird. I could have sworn that like the Sharhot lists in 2018 would have played Enigmatic Assassin, but I like legitimately can't remember when that card was banned now. But yeah, like Dark Irregulars was still good in 2018.
Yes, it was.
Yeah. Also, this is getting away from my original point, which is that like Dust was absolutely not the win condition.
It was a win con. It wasn't the win con.
Yeah.
You didn't not run Dust. It like I think most decks had.
Every deck had their fucking Zeroth Dragon. You just didn't actually go into it most games.
Unless you had to. I still have the Zeroth Dragon in Aqua Force, which I think I've gone into it twice since I've put the deck back together. Still, pretty solid Zeroth Dragon. I have taken the Zoa out of Great Nature because why would you do that? Being that you can't even
Okay, I did find the Darkness list from 2018 running 2 enigmatic assassins, which means it wasn't that one yet.
Meow, 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 meow. Meow, 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 meow. I was wrong about something for the 80th time. Some of my students were doing that the other day. They were playing that song with the cats, which I don't understand why. I've only gone into the Zerath Dragon and Aqua Force if I've had no rear guards at all and at 5 damage. That's exactly what I've done that for or with. Yeah, pretty solid. Anything else we want to talk about before we head out tonight?
No, I figured out the thing with enigmatic assassin. I'm happy.
He's happy that he was right about something again. For the 80th time. Anyway, leave a like, leave a comment if you like.
Honestly,
the show,
I'm just more shocked that Darkness at that time just wasn't playing it.
Maybe it was just, it was a horse of a different color. Same here. Stream GFA. Sorry, too little, too late. Maybe next week. But you can. I already said the. Rate, comment, subscribe. If you want to support the show, patreon.com/Nexus at Night helps us out. You can join our Discord if you give $1 that you can find in your couch. That'd be dope. $5 a month helps. It helps. Be awesome. You can also find us on social media at Nexus at Night on Blue Sky, on Twitter, on Instagram, which I haven't touched that in a long time, but it's there. You can go there and like and follow that for whatever reason. You can also follow me at Atlas Novak, wherever fine social medias are found. That is Blue Sky. That is, I almost said Tinder. That is TikTok. That is Instagram. That is not Twitter because I nuked that shit from orbit. And you can also follow my other show, Generation Dan, which is a weekly podcast about generational differences. I was about to put up the episode from this week, and then I realized the grave error and took it down, so I got to re-edit it and put it back up. So wait till tomorrow morning for that. And then we stream every Sunday. New episodes come out every Friday. Matt, you can follow at Wiggums, 2 G's, 2 Z's on Blue Sky. He's not here, but we love him anyway. What about you, sir?
You can find me at Plasma Eclipse or Beerus Rudicus, depending on which website.
Which would be Twitter and Blue Sky, respectively. Kind of important to make that note. Well,
no, it isn't.
Thanks, everybody.
They'll figure it out. We'll learn.
You'll learn. All right. Well, thanks everybody for watching and for listening and for commenting. Love y'all. See you next time.
Bye.